Happy Easter, everyone. A long time ago, I read a book when I was a boy called Walden Pond. Some of you know it. It was written by Henry David Thoreau, who at the time I thought was a terrific philosopher, very simple for somebody who was dealing with, some difficult challenges in his life. And when I read that book, a couple of things popped out at me. He has a quote in there saying that if you step out confidently in the direction of your dreams, I'm paraphrasing and I remember exactly what it was, you will meet with unparalleled success in the right hour, or similar words to that. He also talks about self reliance and how you really need to focus on your own, he calls it genius, and he's using it from the ancient Roman idea of genius, which is your guiding spirit, genius. And in that guiding spirit, we've really got to rely on this, particularly in this political climate. Even though this channel is not a political channel, it does have implications for some of the things we're trying to do. You never know how we're going to come up upon a success or when it will come up. So we have a number of people every day who call us and talk to us and who share with us the difficulties that they are having as they have been caught in a sting and they're going through the stages of grief, the shock, the disbelief, the looking for resources and trying to quickly get legal representation and finding out that they're running into a buzzsaw of people who don't seem to be interested in the constitutional concerns that all of us have. They are an industry. The legal services, the zealous representation is not happening that lawyers are supposed to give when you have been convicted or when you're indicted on a sex offense. So you really have to rely on yourself more than anything. Just as you're confused, you're dazed, you're disoriented, they're trying to rush you to sign, and these are people on your side, by the way, rush to sign a plea agreement before you've even fully processed what the hell was going on. At the same time, we have an administration in office right now that, according to Michael Wallingford, president of the Brennan Center for Justice, has said is really an attack, mounting an attack on civil society. And one of the things they've started doing that we have seen elsewhere is going after not for profits. They have, for example, according to Michael Wallingford of Brennan Center again, they have yanked the grants of the Vera Institute. If you're unaware of it, the Vera Institute is one of the few institutes that deals exclusively with prison reform issues and how to deal with things like 5 year minimums and whether prisoners should have access to good representation and health care in prison and climate control. So it's not too hot, it's not too cold, and how those conditions wear on you and how it creates fights and disruption in an already disruptive atmosphere of the community that ends up being the prisons and jails. Well, Brennan Center and Vera Institute and Prison Policy Institute all do a lot of really good work in this area. They also support some of the things we're talking about. We have Restore the Fourth, which is another organization. Unfortunately, they don't deal with things that I would like them to deal with. We had a long conversation a couple years ago. They wanted me to join their organization in one capacity. We didn't get far enough as to what that would mean, but they were willing to have me work on this issue. The problem is it wasn't a paid position. I didn't have the money or the wherewithal to step away from what I was doing. So it's a challenge. But Trump is going after all of these people and all these organizations that support what we do in whole or in part, in ancillary fashion or not. At the same time, people are coming out. He's pressuring attorneys too to give free legal work and to basically turn their back on the average and ordinary citizen out there. At the same time, we've got a bunch of people coming out as a result of these things who need representation that are running into the buzzsaw of your lawyer charges $300 to $500 an hour. They will almost always pressure you to accept a plea deal. They will claim that they will zealously represent you, and they won't. They will tell you that while you have been wronged, and they certainly sympathize with you, you're still going to have some jail time, or you're still going to be a registrant on the sex offender registry. And you would think after all this time, the criminal defense organizations that are out there would have come up with a better plan than, yeah, let me take your money, we'll get a quick plea deal, so sorry, and move on. That's not what you're looking for. And you have to understand, in the words of Thoreau, that you need to rely on you. I know you're not accustomed to. I know that there's a great sense of, what I call the Chicken Little syndrome. A lot of people running around looking at groups like Cage and Narsol and Axol and War, Women Against the Registry, and rushing to them, trying to get help. And all you're going to get is a sympathetic ear and maybe some resources. None of them are in a position where they can go to bat for you. So you have to rely on you like never before. And you cannot rely on your attorney. So part of the message of this is self-reliance on this Easter Sunday. Understand that you have to toughen up. You have to get really tough very quickly. And you can rely on some of us, but you have to focus on not bemoaning your situation, but fighting it. What is the best angle for going after these people? And you have to win, as I've said again, at the trial basis. Here's some steps you need to take. Step number one, go hunt for a really good attorney that has a lot of experience with sex offense cases and winning them. Pay the extra money. Put a second mortgage on your house. It's worth it. And I'll tell you why. Don't rely on their happy stuff about how they represent sex offenders. Make an appointment, pay whatever little money they want for an appointment if they don't have a free legal consultation, and then go in there with a list. How much do we have? 30 minutes? I need 10 minutes for questions alone. Maybe you'll cover some of these questions, maybe you won't. And then go in and ask your questions. And your questions should be, at a minimum, do you push for plea deals? And what percentage of your cases end in a plea? Do you push for that plea? Do you press for it? And don't let them skirt around it. Yes or no? Do you press for it, and why? Do you have a strategy for beating sexting cases? Do you know exactly what's going on with these sexting cases, or do we have to tutor you on what's actually happening out there? What applicable law is there? What success have you had using the entrapment defense in your practice, in the state, in this district court, in this federal division, whatever they're in? Okay? How many of these cases have you actually done on sextings, and how many have you won? When you lost, what did you learn about it? How could you improve things? Okay? These aren't perfect situations. You're not going to get a perfect answer because there's, of course, subtleties and nuances, and every case is a bit different, but they're not that different. Not in sting cases. So what you need to understand is how you can approach them and understand you're interviewing them. They're not interviewing you. Yes and no, a little bit. Yes, of course, they need to see if they're going to take the case, but you're interviewing them. You're deciding if they're a good fit. And if they're not, if they don't seem to know what they're doing, if they won't return your phone calls, find somebody else. Now, having said that, be reasonable. Don't bug the crap out of them. Understand, they have a mortgage. They have legal fees that they have to pay. They have to pay for rent and space wherever they are. They have a family to feed too. So they're juggling. They're going to take your money. They're going to put your case aside. Oh, I got to go to court tomorrow. I got to work on this case. Don't expect they're going to answer you in the afternoon when you have something to say about that. They're not. Okay? Have your list of questions. Do not waste their time. Have concrete questions and do your own homework. Self-reliance. Do your own homework. Look it up. What's the case law? Talk to people who've won and lost their cases. Where were you? What jurisdiction? Find somebody in your state, preferably in your county or in your region. Understand that there are 13 federal districts around the country. I think there's federal districts. I think that's what they're called. We're in the Fourth Circuit of Virginia, which is Maryland, Virginia, and the two Carolinas. possibly Georgia, but I don't think so. And maybe Tennessee, I don't remember, but certainly those four. And what does that mean? That means that if you have an opinion from the Fourth Circuit, it has greater weight, called precedent, on the lower courts, on your trial court, than something out in California. That's great. Something out in California, wonderful. The only thing better is something in the United States Supreme Court. So they have, I think, the Morton case, or certainly the Jacobson case. There are a number of other cases out there, but very, very few on entrapment. And these cases are, 30 years old. And they haven't won a decent one that's gotten up to the Supreme Court in a very long time, Supreme Court of the United States. So understand, do your homework. Don't just say, turn it over to an attorney. Now I can sit and, what should I do? No, you get busy researching. The next thing you need to do, once you solidify your arguments and you understand what the attorney is doing, you have somebody who's really competent who thinks they can beat it, and you're doing research too, and you're helping out any way you can. Hey, what can I do to help my case? What can I look at? What do I need to nail down? What do you need from me? Hire a forensic examiner for your devices. Okay? Make sure your attorney gets the full discovery, including your devices, and pay the money. Hire a forensic analyst, somebody really skilled in it. The person that I had claimed that she was able to do it, and she was not able to do it. And we thought we didn't need it, and we did. Hire a forensic analyst, for God's sake. Somebody can go in and say, they manipulated the evidence. They deleted files. They did this, they did that, or maybe nothing. Maybe you're guilty. But at least you might be able to find an angle there that your attorney could use to get you off, because that's your thing. That's what you want. I'm not saying you should, or I'm not speaking about that. I'm just saying be smart, be your own zealous defender. And finally, again, don't sit there and look for sympathy or kumbaya or anybody to sit there and that you can cry on their shoulder. Nobody's coming to the rescue. I've had friends for 30 years. Nobody came to the rescue. The friends I've had for 5 to 7 years were the ones who called me in jail. Not my good friends of many years. None of them troubled themselves. Okay? And just understand, self-reliance is your key. Don't rely on your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister, your children, your cousin, whatever, your aunts, your uncles. Rely on you. That's the message. That's the message of Walden Pond. That's the message of ICAC Unpacked for the 20th day of April 2025. Something to do with marijuana day or something like that. 420 day, right? Don't do marijuana, don't know. And most importantly, Easter. And this is the message for ICAC Unpacked. Please be safe, be smart, and be self-reliant. Have a good day.